They get fucking mad about the way I feel, like it's such a big deal. It's a pronoun, dick, not a kitten. I think it's a bad idea. Keep on saying free speech, but we know it's not real. Get a little mad about the way we feel, and you drop that zeal. It's not politics, E, you're just shitty. It's not doxing, you fucking moron. Whatever. Jesus. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, we got fusion. Back here with the future. Cleaner than your blueprints. The power of the sun, Spider-Man 2 shit. New shit. Layoffs hit the news end. They marching with the union. Rents be going down, but all my interest hasn't loosened. Last show of the year, the holidays near. Went from broke to working at Apple to rapping news here. Fuck all of my fears, take all your chances. This is your answer, it's comeback season, you beautiful bastards. Say a bad idea, they gon' try to tell you that it's all not real. They get fucking mad about the way y'all feel, like it's no big deal. They ain't skip no meal, they're just skinny. Tell me it's a bad idea. 2023 be coming up a new year. If they fucking mad about the way I feel, I don't need that seal of approval, cause I got my deal, bitch, you get me? On time?
Just in time as always. But now, let's jump into specifics starting with Monday. With there of course being so many reactions to the story about Elon Musk getting booed while on stage with Dave Chappelle, with there being this kind of general consensus that Dave and Elon being friends makes so much sense, with the general reaction being kind of just laughing at how pathetic Elon Musk looked, both during his time on stage where he was being booed and he didn't know what to say, as well as how after on Twitter he tried to characterize it as 90% cheers, though he later deleted that sad claim and tweet. But also the number of comments on that were kind of just a drop in the bucket compared to the situation around the school district in Brevard, or the one where apparently we had students so out of control, causing chaos, causing all the staff to leave, with a beautiful bastard by the name of Catherine making it seem like while this district in particular was awful, it wasn't an isolated incident. Writing, I've been a public high school teacher for 10 years and I've never seen it this bad. The part that makes it so hard for us is that we're expected to fix everything and we can't. Every moment I spend stopping a fight or managing an outburst is a moment I'm not teaching or trying to develop a positive, safe atmosphere in my classroom, which is what students really need to work on their mental health and try to learn something. When we ask admin for help, all we're told is we're not doing enough to build relationships or create interesting enough lessons because students won't be misbehaving if we were. All we get is accusations for not doing enough instead of genuine help and support, and people wonder why we're quitting in droves. And you had Robin trying to give us some insight into the students there, with her having actually been one in Brevard and clarifying that it's a low-income area known for abusive households. They're saying a lot of their behavior is likely learned at home, but saying at the school itself there are almost no resources for students to get help, as Robin herself, quote, actually reported my family for abuse in high school and 2 police officers told me it was normal and to get over it, saying they never sent social workers and only did 1 checkup on me, and saying I have so much frustration from my schooling experience and have little to no trust for many authority figures because of this. But Brevard wasn't the only story about workplace frustrations, right? We had that situation with the nurses getting fired for sharing what makes them mad at work, aka their icks. We saw that a handful of y'all felt that what the nurses did was fine or justified, saying in defense of those nurses, I was recently in the hospital for a week with pancreatitis, and during that time I had 5 different patients share a room with me. 4 of those 5 treated the nurses like they were their personal servants. I couldn't believe what the nurses had to put up with. And people saying they're being unprofessional or acting like these nurses said these things to the patients. But at the same time, the vast majority we saw commenting on this understood why the nurses got in trouble. With one group saying, hey, it's okay to be frustrated about work, but posting it to TikTok lacks professionalism and tact. Others also feeling that the nurses were in a unique position because they're working with vulnerable people. And Skylar specifically adding, nursing is different to complaining about other jobs because you're dealing with vulnerable people in the worst moments of their lives. Talking about how the tomato soup wouldn't stack at Kohl's, or how this person at your workplace peer pressured everyone to do a secret Santa is not the same as complaining about a cancer patient being disoriented or a woman who just gave birth asking silly questions. And then let's talk about Flaviar. Flaviar, if you don't know, is a personalized spirit subscription offering you the finest scotch, bourbons, tequilas, and more. And what's cool with them and why they're a sponsor of the show is they're fantastic whether you're a spirits newbie or you already know your shit, right? Because their spirit subscriptions, they offer you a choice of a personalized tasting box that comes with 3 premium samples, a coaster, and a guided virtual tasting, or you can get an entire bottle you pick out yourself. And they got you covered for whatever you're looking for. Scotches, bourbons, reposada, tequilas, maybe that's more your style. Personally, I use a subscription box to kind of figure out what I like, which is why it helps that Flaviar's team of experts design your tasting so you can try every type of spirit and see what works for you. Plus, y'all, Christmas is in 11 days. Flaviar memberships are a perfect last-minute gift for anyone 21 and older. So just go to flaviar.com/DeFranco and use code DeFranco for an 11% discount or a free bottle of whiskey depending on your membership type. And then on Tuesday, we had a lot of people talking about this kind of revelation, or at least the reporting that a ton of individuals in our military and law enforcement agencies are on the far right. right? And there we saw comments like, I'm a Navy veteran. The Oath Keepers approached me at some point after I got out. They tried to make it sound like a social group for anyone that swore to uphold and defend the Constitution. And then adding, I went to the website they provided and there was a guy in a powdered wig talking about getting ready to fight the government. I haven't had anything to do with them since then. And as a former Marine and white male who is a bit disgruntled about my treatment after leaving the service, I see a lot of the targeted BS from the right. Many of my friends follow Oath Keepers and other organizations. They promise to fix the system and take care of their own. As a disabled vet, I hate the system we currently have to care for our service members, but I don't want to solve that with violence. You also had others talking about how when they were in the service and directly told about how to see signs of extremism, they were fought the entire way when calling it out. But to be clear, this was not universal, with many who said they were service members saying they never noticed the problem. But also their experiences didn't lead them to discount the possibility that there were far-right shitheads next to them, saying things like, I was an Army medic and I'm glad to not have really seen that kind of problem when I was in, but it truly makes me sad to think about it. You have someone next to you that had your life in their hands and is supposed to have your back, but because of their viewpoint could lead to your death. It just sucks. We also talked about AI a bit on Tuesday. Fortunately, there was far less contentious this time around. John had a great story about talking with a CVS chatbot. The situation just sounds surreal and hilarious, and also the bot at times seemed more human. But one of the topics that dominated was this Aiden Ross story, where we had people saying it seems interesting that Aiden Ross definitely seems like he could use help reading.
What does a fascist mean? Far right authorization on ultra analyst political ideology movement characterized by dictator leadership, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition. So I don't know what that means, bro. I swear to God. I don't know what the fascism is. I don't know what the that is. Benito Mussolini and Giviante Gentile and Jason Stanley. Who the are these people, bro?
And this at the same time because Andrew Tate appeared to want a more illiterate world. With Michael, they're also pointing out in a great twist of irony that Tate actually has a book for sale that's all about learning life lessons from someone else. We also had people commenting about how Ross is just a product of the education system, saying it's really common for this generation to not know how to read. The method of teaching kids implemented in the 90s and used since teaches kids to make guesses as to what words are instead of sounding them out. The US education system has only taught about 60% of kids to actually read for a whole generation. Side note, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, fucking commas. Use commas. It took me 3 swings to read that sentence. Also, just to push back a little bit, the reason they do this is because that's how the brain actually works anyways when reading words, regardless of language. And that's on top of the fact that English has a series of multiple writing rules from various languages that all clash with each other. So sounding it out could make little sense unless you know that X comes from German and thus follows those rules, or from French, so it has a different set of rules to sounding it out. But also, as easy as it was to bash Ross over his shocking reading ability, like I offered, we also saw some praise over his decision to not platform Kanye. But for many, they also still didn't agree with him platforming Tate. Also, a quick thing about this episode, there was the incident where I think I said Maury, and I'm not even sure if I was that off. I don't like going back and viewing my mistakes, but I wanted to acknowledge it. It is Maori. I'm still gonna probably be off. I'm fucking horrible with tapped R's or anything like that. Also, I'll say I feel like I've been very transparent about just being shitty at pronouncing things that are foreign to me. Literally 85% of my fixes where I have to go back and refilm something is because I pronounced a name wrong. Except on my shorts, because the writer that helps me with those likes when I accidentally mispronounce things because it boosts engagement. So then there's just some video of me mispronouncing something that 7 million people have seen. But also, and I feel like I've talked about this, I feel like a certain level of cringe when I have a certain tone and a certain cadence, and then there's a foreign word and I just completely fucking switch up. So then I'm trying to make sure I'm not saying Puerto Rico. Then at the same time, I'm not talking about a sentence and then going Puerto Rico. I can't say it. I can't roll my R's. Puerto Rico. It doesn't even need that much of a roll and I'm messing it up. But anyway, main point of the story, I got a big, fat, dumb mouth. Deal with it. And then, though, I will say on Wednesday, I got a lot of props for my pronunciation, to the delight of all you British beautiful bastards. When I said twat, you were like, yes! You didn't say twat! And of course, that's because if I'm going to curse at you, I want you to understand. But also, the praise I got there was nothing compared to how much y'all hated that streamer being an asshole to a woman who was just answering a question. Where he asked,
Curvy, where the fuck have you been?
She responds, well, my mom died. And he responds with,
oh my God, well, tell you what, Miss Dirty Curvy, you know what we're not gonna do? We're not gonna talk about it in my chat. It's Friday. And that is a whole big bucket of bummer.
And pretty much everyone was on the fuck this guy bandwagon, with many pointing out that it's already hard to navigate a loss like this. And Chris and others saying things like him yelling at someone whose mom just passed for killing the vibe was much more a buzzkill than just being a normal human being and saying, I'm so sorry for your loss. Which I think is a good way to acknowledge it while also, not diving into it and focusing just on that and moving on if he really didn't want the whole conversation to be about that. Also, I do want to note, despite his initial apology, and then remember that 8-minute video I talked about where he was like, actually, never mind. He has continued to act like the victim in the situation and saying, of all the people, because understand, it's not just me, even massive streamers were speaking out against this. I saw the likes of Moist Critical and Hassan Piker saying, yeah, it's not fun when someone's trauma dumping, but that's not what fucking happened here. YouTubers or Twitch streamers or whoever, they're not your therapist. But if you ask a question,